Ladies and gentlemen, imagine a world where the global economy is no longer dominated by a handful of developed countries. Imagine a world where the emerging economies are playing a leading role in the global growth and shaping the global financial system. This is the world that the BRICS bloc is helping to create. The acronym BRICS represents the 5 major emerging economies: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And just last month, the bloc admitted 6 new members: Egypt, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Ethiopia, Iran, and Argentina. Starting from January 2024, this will be officially in the bloc. In this presentation, we'll be talking about the role of the BRICS in the global economy and discussing the economic and financial potential of the BRICS bloc, as well as the challenges it's facing. But first, I want to go back to when was the BRICS created? In 2001, James O'Neill, who was the chief economist at Goldman Sachs, he made an observation about the developing world. He pointed out how fast the economy of Brazil, Russia, India, China is growing. At that time, these were the rising stars because their economy was growing really, really fast. But the group did not come together until 8 years forward. In 2009, they were joined by South Africa to form the so-called BRICS now. The primary objective of the BRICS is to promote mutual understanding, enhance economic cooperation, and address global challenges through a diplomatic means. So let's take a look at the BRICS in numbers and why it's so important. The BRICS bloc represents around 42% of the world's population, 23% of the global GDP, 17% of the world trade, and 26.6% of the world trade of the land area, 13.2% of the world voting power. And this is huge numbers. Let's break more into these numbers in details. We'll be checking the population, exports, and the GDP of the BRICS five countries. The reason that the BRICS represent more than 40% of the world's population is because it contains China and India, the only 2 countries with more than 1 billion people there. China and India with 1.4 billion each comes there. After that, Brazil with 216 million, followed by Russia with 144 million, and at last comes the South Africa with 60 million. In terms of export, China had the greatest share in the BRICS export with $3.598 trillion, which is around 70% of the total export by the BRICS countries, followed by Russia with $532 million, followed by India with $453, and then comes South Africa at last with $123 million. In terms of the GDP, China also has the largest GDP among the group with $19.374 trillion, followed by India with $3.737, and India is really, really growing fast. It's the fastest growing economy among the group, followed by Brazil with $2.081 trillion, and after that comes Russia with $2.06 trillion, and at last comes South Africa with $0.399 trillion. Now, the total population, as mentioned earlier, 3.2 billion, around 40% of the global population. The total export is 5.04%, which is around 20% of the total export in the world. and the GDP is almost around the third GDP of the world. I also wanted to point out the major industries that's giving this bloc a significant and huge role in the global economy. First of all, China's major industries are manufacturing, technology, finance, and agriculture. India major industries are manufacturing, services, and agriculture. Russia major industries are oil and gas, metals, and manufacturing. Brazil manufacturing, agriculture, and mining. South Africa manufacturing, agriculture, and mining. As I mentioned earlier, starting from next year, the group will welcome 6 new members. These members, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Argentina, UAE, and Ethiopia. But I want to talk about what are these 6 new members are going to bring to the BRICS table. Large and growing populations. With Ethiopia and Egypt, with more than 100 million people there, it's really large population. Rapid and economic growth, rich natural resources, and we'll be talking in more details about this, taking Saudi Arabia as an example. If you just take a look at the oil production before the admission of the 6 members, and now, before the admission of the 6 members, the BRICS has around 20% of the total production of crude oil in the world. But after adding Saudi Arabia, Iran, UAE, it's going to be more than 40%. Strategic location, and this is very important also. Take a look at Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and Egypt are located on the crossroad of the world, with Egypt controlling the Suez Canal, which is very important for the international trade flow. With adding Egypt and Ethiopia, now the BRICS has representation in North Africa, East Africa, and previously they had South Africa, which is also they have in the South Africa. Take a look at Iran. Iran also controls the Strait of Hormuz, which is responsible of the flow of 25% of the world's oil and gas production every year. Why is BRICS a major economic bloc? BRICS countries, they are major producers, but at the same time, they are also major consumers. And this is a significant impact on the global economy. It's creating markets. BRICS economy are investing heavily in infrastructure, and this is also driving the global economic growth. The BRICS countries are working together to promote trade and investment, and this is creating business opportunities for businesses and investors. We have already seen a lot of money being invested in India, a lot of business opportunities there. And the BRICS countries are using their economic clout to promote their interest in international forums. We're talking about global organizations like the IMF or like the World Bank. They have a great voting power there. It helps to reform these financial institutions in the way that helps the global economic order. We'll be talking more details about this later. The trade and investment among the BRICS countries. In 2022, the percentage of trade between BRICS countries compared to the entire world was 22.46%. 22.46% was traded between only the BRICS countries, these 5 countries. China is the largest trading partner among all of the other BRICS countries. Just taking China as an example. Last year, China traded $1.5 trillion with Brazil only. And they traded $600 billion with Russia, $800 billion with India, and $100 billion with South Africa. Totally around $3 trillion just being traded between the BRICS countries. The trade relationships among the BRICS countries are based on a number of factors, including the mutuality, as mentioned earlier. They are great producers, but they're also great consumers. So it's creating some sort of mutuality. Whatever I can produce, I can sell it here. Economic growth. These opportunities, these businesses, this creating a demand for local goods and services, which is helping the economy to grow. Investment. As I mentioned earlier, one of the main objectives of the BRICS group is to invest in the infrastructure of these countries. So, till now, what have the BRICS countries achieved so far? First of all, they have created the new development bank. You can think of it as an alternative of the IMF or the World Bank. But we'll be diving in more details about this in the next slides. The BRICS Business Council. The BRICS Business Council is a private sector organization that helps to promote trade and investments among the BRICS countries. They created also the BRICS Academic Forum, which is an organization that promotes educational cooperation between the BRICS countries. And last, they create something very interesting. It's the BRICS Pay. So what's the BRICS Pay? BRICS Pay is a digital payment system. Think of it as the same the SWIFT system. It's supposed to be the alternative for the SWIFT system. It has an advantages over the SWIFT systems. One of these advantages is that it reduces the transaction cost, as the BRICS Pay does not involve intermediate banks or the correspondent banks. Second, the BRICS Pay is faster than the SWIFT system, as it uses a real-time settlement system. Now, the new development bank. It's a multilateral bank established by the BRICS countries to help finance the infrastructure project and the sustainable development project in the emerging countries. It has initial authorized capital of $100 billion, and as of now, it has a subscribed capital of $50 billion, distributed equally among the 5 major countries. So far, the new development bank has financed about more than $30 billion in infrastructure, in the sustainable development project, in the emerging world, and in the BRICS countries. The bank is headquartered in Shanghai, China. Let's talk a little bit about the impact of BRICS on the global finance. BRICS countries hold over 40% of the world's foreign exchange reserve. And the BRICS countries' influence on the global financial market can be seen in 3 points: economic growth, trade and investment, and financial market. The rapid growing of the BRICS countries' economy is creating a high demand for services and goods. And this helps stimulate the economic growth and also bolstering the assets prices. In the trade and investment, as I mentioned earlier, the main objective of the BRICS bloc is to promote the trade among the BRICS countries. And this is creating a business opportunities for investors and for businesses. In the financial market point, the BRICS financial markets are attracting a huge amount of money from domestic and foreign investors, especially India. I'm going to repeat the point of India because the last years we've seen India growing really, really fast. Let's break it with some examples. How they are impacting the global finance. Chinese investors are increasingly investing in the global financial market. And India's stock market or equity market currently is now the 4th largest equity market in the world, just coming right after the US market, China market, and Japan market. Last year, it was estimated to be around $3.5 trillion. And just guys, to know how big this number is, it's bigger than Europe's two largest stock markets, UK and France. Brazil is a major player in the global commodity market with its coffee, with its grains. Russia is a major exporter of oil and gas. And they are also a major and key member of the OPEC+. South Africa is a major producer of gold and other precious metals. I also wanted to talk about the impact of the BRICS on the global finance after admitting the 6 new countries. The main point here is that if these countries can provide export that can be sold with the local BRICS currencies. Like, for example, we'll be talking about Saudi Arabia and China collaboration here. If Saudi Arabia starts trading oil in the dollar currencies, it could trigger a symmetric shift in the global financial system. And let's break it down with numbers. As for now, Saudi Arabia exports 25% of its crude oil production to China, while they only export 7% of the production to US. The total export going from Saudi Arabia to China is around 20% of Saudi Arabia's export, while only 5% goes to the US. On the other hand, Saudi Arabia received 22% of its import from China and 7.5% only from the US. And here's the thing. If Saudi Arabia can sell the oil to the Chinese in yuan and uses back the yuan to buy its imports from China, this could deprive the dollar from a huge liquidity. Let's talk about the role of BRICS in multilateral organization. Taking an example, the G20, the group, the biggest 20 economies, IMF, and the World Bank. Now, all the BRICS countries are members of the G20, IMF, and the World Bank. The BRICS countries have utilized their membership in this organization to advocate and reform the benefits of the developing countries. They have a huge voting power, and they're using it to reshape or reform the global financial economy system. Let's say the BRICS countries have combined voting power of 15.34% of the World Bank. This makes them the third largest voting power in the World Bank after US and the European Union. But after admitting the new countries, this percentage is expected to be more than 20%, making them the largest voting power in the World Bank. Let's break it with some examples, how they impact the global financial. In 2010, the BRICS countries played a key role in the World Bank decision to create the Global Infrastructure Facility, the GIF. The GIF is a $62 billion fund that's helped to finance the infrastructure projects in the developing countries. In 2015, the BRICS bloc countries played a key role in the G20's adoption of the Sustainable Development Goals. It's a set of 17 goals for a better world for all of us by 2023. Now, coming to the last point, the challenges and disagreements of the BRICS. What's holding the BRICS from becoming so great and reach their full potential? First of all, the leadership. As of now, the BRICS does not have a clear leader in the bloc. Although some might question China's influence in the bloc since it's the biggest economy, but officially the bloc has no leader. And also the bloc has different views on different important issues. For example, if we're talking about the global economic governor, or we're talking about the regional security, these are the things that needs a leader to be stated. Second challenge is the expansion criteria. As of now, there is no clear expansion criteria to add a new member. Although the bloc added just 6 members, but the questions were asked, why Ethiopia, not Nigeria? Why Iran, not Indonesia? Why Mexico? Why Argentina, not Mexico? And here, they had a huge disagreement. The talks took around 13 hours in South Africa last month just to admit these 6 countries. China, Russia, and South Africa wanted to add the 6 countries, while India actually wanted first to set the criteria on how are we adding new members. And Brazil was not even want to add any new members, just want to focus on the current objective. Now, the last point is the disagreement. Diversity of members. Again, The BRICS countries are different in the political system, in the financial system, in the economic module. For example, taking China and India as an example. China is a state of economists with a centrally planned economy, while India is a democracy with a mixed economy. This could raise an issue when it comes to determining the trade policies or investment rules. Lack of trust. There could be some lack of trust between the BRICS countries that comes to become a problem when they are required to coordinate together or to collaborate to address some serious issues. The last point is disagreement on specific issues. Again, taking China and India as an example, they're viewing some of the global challenges from different views. For example, if we're talking about poverty or climate change, there is no clear priority order here. So this might hold the BRICS country from making any progress on their agendas. At last, the BRICS country can play a major role in driving the global growth and development. It can also play a significant role in addressing the global challenges such as poverty, such as global warming. But, however, the BRICS country must reach to agreement, must overtake their disagreements and challenges so that they can reach their full potential power. Thank you very much.